Welcome back to the GSL Code S Group H. See, there's a French flag waving in the studio. I feel there are many more online. Stefano, however, finds himself down 0-2, losing his first 2 games in a row to Innovation. Tough first game, and second game was a build or a loss for him without being able to scout what his opponent was doing. So, taking a deficit. Terran players out there, though, I'm sure are pretty pleased. We've got another Terran player coming forward, though, and it is Hack. Someone who's been practicing really hard with great practice partners, like Life, for example. Basically the best player in the world right now. Nobody can stop him. He's going up against DRG, though. Old fan favorite. People call him the final boss. He's been really in shape right now. You can see Hack, of course, getting into Code S from his round of 3, not that, but his 3rd round of Code A. Ranked 17th as far as Terrans go and 36th overall in the GSL. To be in the top 64 in the GSL means you've definitely done something with your career. Somebody that people will remember in 10 years. Hey, you remember Hack? Yeah. If I ask you guys, do you remember Ensnare and Virus? You'll actually remember because they both did really, really well and were in Code S a lot. Yeah, if you just started watching the GSL about a year ago or a year and a half ago, you probably have no idea who those players are. But if I ask you guys who Hong and Prime is, you probably remember too. It's players like Hack that will be remembered forever, even if they retire or disappear. This guy is definitely going to be remembered. DongRaeGu rocking the new MVP shirt, rocking in his booth quite literally right now. Looking a little bit stressed, but at the same time pumped. You know, it's that type of positive stress that you have in the booth before your match starts that can actually really get you going. DongRaeGu, like I said before, coming off of a tough loss against Life in Iron Squid, taking 3 early wins and then losing 4 games straight in a row to lose the series, eventually 4-3. Rough loss for him there. Ranked 2nd as far as top Zergs go, and overall in points, he's ranked 3rd, defeating his teammate Genius, notably, in a GSL season. That was a pretty awesome finals. There's other finals that he's done quite well as well. I'm not going to get into all those because he's done so well in so many different tournaments, not only in Korea, not only the GSL, but internationally, even making the OSL finals, losing finally to Rain. So no matter what league he plays in, he's somebody that you don't want to have in your group. Hack's got no choice, though. Map number 1 is going to be Cloud Kingdom, the very same map we saw last game between our 2 players in the same matchup. So you can see how styles really differ when you watch these 2 players play. Same map, same matchup, different players. Hack looks a little bit tired, and DRG, I feel, looks a little bit nervous. Just looking at their faces right now. I've seen DRG a lot in the booth. I've actually studied him a little bit, and I feel like I know what's going through his head sometimes when I look at him. He kind of wears it on his face. See if he can keep himself together here. This is game number 1, Hack versus DRG, Code S Group H, casted by Wolf. Top right, in the blue, Startail player. His ID means nuke in Korean. He is...
Startail, Hack.
It also means in English to chop away at things or to use a program to cheat in some sort of competition. The bottom left in the pink, in fact, this Zerg player is known as the final boss. He is
MVP, DongRaeGu.
There he is. Hot 6 being the sponsor there. And DongRaeGu fighting is, of course, what that says in Hangul there. I'm a forever bronze. Oh, that's sad, but you know, we're glad to have you here. This fine gentleman sits to my left. Mollycast, in fact. And it's always good to have fans come down to the studio. If you live in Seoul or you're nearby or you're going on a vacation, make sure to stop by and say hi. It's not only myself, but the other GSL casters and the players. You might even be able to catch Mr. Che if you're lucky. Hack takes a measly 5.2% of the winner prediction. DongRaeGu takes 40, a massive, overwhelming majority there of the votes. When you have 4 players, one of them takes 40. It's pretty safe to say most people think DRG is getting out. Now you can see the win rates here for the matchup. Both players having it over 60%. Just goes to show that they're top-notch players. Over 60 doesn't mean as much as over 80, but it gets to be a bit much when player has over 50%, they're consistently in Code S. Not something Hack has been able to accomplish just yet. He's got another shot at it though. Scout goes off here, of course, by DRG. He wants to know, are you CC first? Should I go double hatch before pool? As soon as he sees that there's a barracks, he makes the spawning pool. Does not go double hatch before pool. and Hack will just place his command center calmly on the low ground here. Something the drone waits for now in spots. So both players, very safe build. Difference here being that Hack scout a little bit later. He is going to get the information that he needs, which is not only that it's hatch first, which is normal, but there's no gas. He'll want to stick around a little bit longer, see if he can see if there's a third base or if he can see those gases made. The thing is, your opponent's never going to show you gases, but if he wants to go gas and you stay near his assimilators, or in this case, extractors, you're going to delay his gas because he doesn't want you to see it. So it's always good to be around before those queens pop out. The reason why this works out so well for a Terran player on this map compared to Whirlwind is because Whirlwind is so big, it's a 4-player map, it takes so long to get your SCV to your opponent's base that by the time you get there, he probably has queens out, you're not really going to be able to see anything. You can see Hack even gets a second pass in here. Gas? No? Okay. If you get gas now, your timing's going to be too late to be really aggressive against me. You could still do it, but I don't have to worry as much. Now we can just hang around and check the third base a little bit later. Feeling very comfortable at this point in time. In fact, based on what he's seen with the no gas, he feels comfortable enough to make a fast third command center with just one gas. So this doesn't cut out tech entirely, and it's not super greedy for the third command center. It's a middle ground from what we've seen already in the past with the double gas before the command center or the command center before the double gas. Taking 6 SCVs off of your mineral mining in your main base actually makes such a big difference as to how quickly you can power up your barracks, your factory, and of course that command center. So you can see that this is a great middle ground for Hack, who now gets a factory and his second gas. With this type of tech, we're likely just going to see reactor Hellion pressure into perhaps multiple barracks pressure at the third base with some Hellions to support. Nothing is known for certain just yet, but that's what it looks like Hack has planned. Probably not going to see double factory from him with a late second gas like that. It's possible, it's doable, but it's not crisp. And Hack is a crisp player. A lot of rumors going around StarTale right now with the recent departure of 2 top pro Osses, Squirtle, and of course parting. Hack, though, definitely a top contender, and StarTale really needs a win from him today. ESF teams right now are looking for all they can get. If you look at the list of players who qualified for GSL Code A, you see very few non-castable players there. Consider the players that are left in the GSL who are ESF players on these teams. It's very important for them to win as much as possible. For the sponsor's sake, of course. Those of you guys not following esports and not knowing what I'm talking about. Roach Warren goes down now at this point for DRG, playing very safely. He gets that Evolution Chamber as well. And it is in fact going to be double factory play. I did not expect to see this. This is something that's a little bit surprising, I find, but it's the same build that we saw Stefano face, but this is going to be executed in a different way. This is going to be siege tanks off the second factory. And the only thing, I don't think I've ever even seen this quite done like this before in Korea. I can't think of a time. And what's cool about this is this gives you a lot of different opportunities to pressure the third base heavily. When you pressure with some Hellions and Marines, the Queens do decent against that. You get your Spine Crawlers up, you do some transfuses, and yeah, you make a lot of Lings and you lose some Larva, but you don't lose any actual units. The attack that Hack probably has planned here, where you may move out with 2 or 3 siege tanks and siege up that base and try to bunker a little bit, is very, very heavy. And it's going to force DRG to really commit to an attack. You can't just make a few Lings and push it off the Queens. Queens are not going to be enough. And since he's going into Infestors right now and this base is taken so late, he's going to find himself a little bit vulnerable. The Roaches certainly will help out. Just depends on how Hack wants to execute this as well himself. Cancel goes down the hatchery immediately. He knows he can't hold it. A little bit oddly enough restarts it immediately. He's going to have to cancel that once more. DRG is waiting the last second here. I'm a little bit worried for him though. It's a lot of Hellion firepower if he messes this up. He really thinks he can hold it. And if he does, man, more power to him, but I think that's going to have to cancel. You know what? He will just barely save this, I feel. Wow. But the second wave is going to be the problem. Already 2 siege tanks out, third one about to pop. He could use these siege tanks just to secure his third, because now he knows that the command center, or the hatchery is late. It was canceled once. It's otherwise very late. So if he just uses his siege tanks to secure his third against an army of the Zerg that's probably going to have either mutas or infestors coming out very soon, he doesn't know which just yet, that starts to seem like it's a better plan. You know, the more you think about it. Maybe he had a plan to attack the siege tanks early on because you don't normally see siege tanks come out this quick. Now he can use them defensively. He knows his third commander's been up for a really long time. He's been able to beef up his SCV count. He's even with the Zerg player at the 10-minute mark at 53 to 53 harvesters. Great feeling as a Terran if you can deny that third base this long and have your own worker count built up. Because as soon as he lands that orbital at this third, he'll have perfect saturation. He'll be able to transfer further workers over there and continue powering up, as he's doing now, adding 3 additional barracks. One thing we already saw from innovation that we're seeing again from Hack is a little bit later engineering base. He wants to tech rather into the siege tanks than the faster E-base, so his upgrades are again a little bit behind DRG's, but not significantly. Not enough to where it's going to change the course of the game necessarily. It could change 1 or 2 fights maybe. These things come into play from time to time. DRG with a fast hive at 11 minutes, he starts it. This is going to be something that Hack needs to scout to be able to respond to accordingly. His armory is a little bit late, which is actually going to hurt his upgrades. Again, his +2 attack could have been started a little bit earlier if he had the armory on time, but instead, it's just going to slow him down a little bit. These little things add up. DRG's creep is insane. It's already onto the second hill, ramp, whatever you want to call that little plateau in the middle of the map. He's about to go down the ramp and start creeping into where Hack's 4th is. And if this happens, if you ever have a Zerg player who has creep in your 4th base with infestor support, you're not going to take that 4th base probably during the game. Maybe you kill the army, go for counterattack and win, but getting a 4th base just normally is not going to be done. Bungles go down on these Hellions, not able to do very much damage at all. And DRG looking stronger and stronger as this game progresses. He's just got all these little early leads. Whereas Hack's build just didn't, I mean, it makes more sense for him to have the faster upgrades than the siege tanks if he's not going to use the siege tanks. I feel like he thought, yeah, I did enough damage with my Hellions. His base was late. If I use my siege tanks, maybe I get caught by infestors and I'm going to lose my army and potentially lose the game as a result. Whether he uses them or not is a good idea or a bad idea, that aside, he went for a build that put a lot of gas into allowing DRG to be flexible because he didn't pressure him. Once the hatchery was cancelled and he pushed off the road, just I'll just leave him alone. Now DRG has a 13-minute Ultralisk Cavern, Baneling Speed, Adrenal Glands, and 2-2 finishing up right now. Whereas Hack is starting 2-2, but it's pretty behind. It's a bigger window than it was before. He doesn't have a 4th base. It's going to be very difficult for him to do so because he hasn't been able to even step and scan on creep once. This sort of pressure play from DRG that we're seeing now is coming out just in time. Because now he knows, okay, what's Hack going to do? He's going to want to eventually start moving out and clear up these creeps. So he camps at the bottom of the choke point here. So the Terran army has to come out in a funnel where it's easier to fungal. Now he's missed his opportunity to stop it completely. But he slowed it down pretty significantly there just by hitting the fungals at the end of that ramp. 21 Banelings going down for DRG. Looks like he may want to take an engagement on creep here. With good fungals on the medevacs, it's something he can do. But because Hack's siege tank count is so high, since he got that early second factory for that purpose, this have to be a perfect engagement by DRG, and I'm a little bit concerned about it. A good fungal goes down, but he loses the infestor. Not worth it there. Scans on the creep. Hack just very cautiously moving forward right now. He wants to be sure that when he engages DRG's army, it's going to be a favorable engagement where he can target down either the infestors or the banelings. He does not want to be unsieged. That's why he moves his siege tanks one by one so carefully like this. But if he gets caught just one time, this can be the end of him. He knows his 4th is late. He has to take this 4th because the other force is creeped up already. This base is more exposed. It's a lot more difficult to defend. There's no ramp around it. There's no choke point really with it. Yeah, there is one, but it's hard to control. Hack is going to face the Zerg army here, and so far so good. DRG engaging from one angle at first, now comes in from the second angle, and the second wave is exactly what he needs, but both players trade extremely evenly here. The Queens at the end of the line are really doing some extra damage to those medevacs, but DRG, look at that bank. It's being put to use. Hack, on the other hand, since he had his 4th base so late, in fact, it's just being landed now, cannot reproduce. DRG starts +3 now, 4 additional Ultralisks, and a ridiculous amount of Zerglings. I didn't even see how many, it was going up so fast. 3-3 on the way for DRG. Hack doesn't have +3 armor started yet. He is slightly ahead with his +3 weapons, however. Consider that Ultralisks, though, have their natural armor. Something to keep in mind. Could get chitinous plating as well if he hasn't already. Hack is not out of this game, but he's on the back foot. He needs to take several good engagements, which is on this map very possible if you can keep your units at a concave at the bottom of a ramp. DRG looks like he wants to go for a two-pronged attack. He wants to flank here. And if he can pull this off and kill this base and most of Hack's army, the game is his. There's no way for Hack to recover with an economy that's damaged, with no bank and no control of the map when DRG has this much creep. Here he goes, DRG with the flank. This is very obvious, but even though Hack knows about it, there's not much he can do. This is not going to be easy to defend. DRG rips through everything, takes a 40 supply lead here. The planetary being repaired, but it can't be repaired forever, not against this much firepower from the Ultras and all the fungals going down. Planetary will fall here. DRG sends a few Ultras to the left side to push that army back and transfuses. It's a hero Ultras right there. 9 kills. And just a bunch of time bought. Orbital, should I say planetary, does fall down. DRG takes a 60 supply lead here. His creep is not stopping. He is not stopping. And Hack finds himself in a lot of trouble right now. He has no longer any control over this game. He's at the bottom of the food chain right now looking for scraps. DRG is the great white shark of Zerg versus Terran. He smells blood in the water. Moving forward here now, going to consider going up into that choke point. It's always a tough choice to make when you're this far ahead, though. Sometimes you can just get away with it. I feel like this is not intentional, though, based on that path we just saw. And you know what? This is actually great for Hack. This is the best thing he can hope for, man. These are the scraps he was looking for. But the thing is, even though that was a good engagement for him and he killed several of the Ultras, they're instantly replaced by DRG. And he's not even quite able to pick off that last one just yet. He's losing more and more Marines. The Ultras almost takes down that siege tank. Hack is in trouble. He needs a 4th base. DRG is making a 5th base. 3-3 finishing for DRG as well. His queen's feeling a little bit concussed here. Will both fall. Which will slightly limit DRG's creep spreading abilities. So will that missile turret. When you're spreading creep in division of missile turrets, that's when you know your opponent is stuck on the back foot somewhere. Hack makes a hard decision here. And the decision he chooses is to move his natural command center to this new 4th base location. Because he knows there's more minerals there, there's better saturation. But that command center is not a planetary, it's an orbital. There's creep almost underneath it, which means that DRG can attack it instantly, plus he has vision of it. There are no secrets here for DRG. He just has to make good choices now. And all the choices that Hack are making are about 100 times harder to make. Rock's going down here, DRG opening up more choke points that when he engages against Terran armies on the high ground or on the low ground, he doesn't have to funnel. If the Terran army funnels, he's okay with that. Yeah, it's fair if they get all stuck up when the Banelings come in or when the Infestors go for the fungals. But for Ultralists, you want to make sure that the Terran army is not in a place where you can't get the surface area you need. 2 more Ultras, 20 Banelings on the way. DRG will also have burrows so we can set some traps. Just look at that mini-map. This is one-sided, this game so far. Hack really, really struggling. DRG looking strong. He just continues to rally the Ultras across the map. The Ultras count right now is at 10. 10 Ultras on the map. He's going to start using them. Goes for the same exact attack with the flank, this time with better units and his opponent with much less. This could be the end of Hack. He doesn't even have a planetary to fall back on this time. Dropping now down to 125 supply. The SCVs are going to go down as well. That one siege tank at the top of the ramp, that's not going to change this game. Hack is in so much trouble. You're losing all of his SCVs here. Has to lift his natural command center, which became his 4th. Hack's out of options. He goes for a drop in the main here, looks desperate, goes for another attack at the 5th. And these 2 things are great choices, but they're too late. Too little too late, I feel, because DRG will likely save his hatchery. He saves his main here. The hatchery does go down, but DRG still has decent bank and gas, and he can always remake that. We have basically 1 mining base versus 2.5 for DRG. If you want to kind of round the bases based on how much mineral patch they have left. Hack lands his command center again. A few more siege tanks go up to the watchtower. And DRG, he hasn't clinched it yet. But like I said, this is kind of like, the game is his to mold like clay. He is the potter, and he will shape the rest of the endgame. We're now hitting the 23:45 minute mark. DRG tries to find an angle. Can't spread his creep much more further because he's afraid he's just going to waste his tumors and lose them because he knows there's a missile turret there. But his creep is as far forward as it gets. He goes for a straight up attack here once more with the flank, the exact same way, and every time this attack happens, Hack has less and less units. GG. DRG, the final boss, wants to meet Innovation in the winner's match. He takes game 1, looking very strong so far in this best of 3, making Hack almost look weak with how well he played. Hack has had a lot of time to practice because he's not really traveling. He's living in the Startail house. But, you know, a lot of people talk about, well, Hack can train with Life. The problem for him, though, of course, becomes that Life is not often at home. He's around the world taking everybody's money, taking all the trophies. So he's not a ton of time to practice. He practices with Curious. I would actually bet that Hack has been practicing mostly with Curious for this group. DRG does no longer really look nervous. You can see, if you look at his eyes specifically, you can see that the way he looks at the screen is just much more calm. I don't know how to explain this. You know, if you see a person enough, you feel like you can really read their face. DRG is one of those people to me. I can see he's really relaxed now. One of the problems for DRG, I feel, in his finals against Life at Iron Squid was that after 2 wins in a row were against him, he started going on a little bit of tilt. He chose a great build for the map on Antigua, and even had the builder advantage, ended up losing because of his emotion. So good for DRG here that he's up in this series. Bad for Hack, though. He doesn't want a confident DRG. He wants a scared DRG. See if he can change things. The map is Planet Us. This is the GSL Code S, casted by Wolf.